there is news in the Trump legal world, and it's interesting what's happened in the Florida case involving the classified documents that led to a case at the 11th Circuit on whether or not the appointment of a special counsel is even constitutional. And Jack Smith has made a filing that the court people have kind of interpreted as this case is over. And while I do think it's going that path, so far Jack Smith is making moves that would only indicate that they were going that path. He's filed a motion for abeyance. So that is not to end the case or withdraw. That is to give them more time to do their reply brief, because we had already filed our briefing in that will. They had filed their initial briefing. Now it's their reply brief will not be due. I think they asked for till November 15th. No,
November 15th was the date that they were supposed to have it. Now it's December 2nd is what they're asking the court for in order to assess this unprecedented circumstance and determine the appropriate course going forward consistent with DOJ policy.
That's ultimately will be dropped. I mean, remember, President Trump, who has the authority to do it, has said Jack Smith will be fired on day one, and the Attorney General will, whoever that may be, if it's Matt Gaetz, will end up closing out these cases if for some reason they were still open. But it looks like that will be done even before President Trump takes the oath of office. They are on that path. But I want to tell you that the ACLJ will be monitoring it. And we do want to explain it to you so you understand, because some of the news kind of acts like, okay, this is all completely done. In the legal world, until it's completely done, it's not completely done. And right now, he didn't file like a motion to vacate, he didn't file a motion to leave, he didn't file a motion to dismiss. He filed a motion to get more time to write a brief, and that pushes them even closer into Inauguration Day, still about a month out. So we were going to follow those very quickly, but it does look like because of your votes, because of the people turning out in such big numbers, that a lot of the lawfare on the federal side has been and will be defeated, and you helped to defeat it. By supporting the work of organizations like the ACLJ, by getting out the vote. And then we still have to see some of these state cases, though most of those are also likely to go by the wayside on the criminal side. And, I think, again, will there be those in the trying to push the limits of what they can do legally with a sitting president on the left? Sure. But, as we've argued before at the U.S. Supreme Court, we are representing President Trump. You cannot have a president in office that has to worry about 2,000 partisan elected district attorneys in state who work for states, not and districts, not for the federal government, bringing charges against you because they don't like your political philosophy or your political, your political ideas, the nominations you make, or the decisions that you make as president of the United States. And so I think, again, while they could attempt to continue lawfare, this is the 4 years we have to really turn that system off for good.
Jack Smith has a history, a very fine pedigree of losing cases on appeal. And so what I think the danger here and why he has to get out of the Florida case is because while Jack Smith has had his cases overturned against Governor McDonald out of Virginia, even he was the one who first led the attempt against Senator Menendez in New Jersey. All of those cases didn't go the way he wanted. Now, if he were to be the one that took the tool out of the left's toolbox of a special counsel by continuing to fight on appeal the lower court saying he's unconstitutional, that could then set off a chain reaction where it gets to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court agrees, yeah, special counsels are unconstitutional and violate the appropriations clause and all of the things that Judge Cannon said.
It'd be kind of wonderful to happen, but
right.
I don't think it's going to happen.
So that's the danger,
case.
I think, why Jack Smith, no matter what, has to get out. I don't think anyone will read his report that he puts out because the lawfare that they've been trying to do against President Trump for now almost 8 full years, this is the culminating event. This is the crescendo, and it's going to go out of key. It's going to not work. And what you see is that after all that lawfare, President Trump didn't just win the popular vote. He won the majority of the country. a lot of people were saying even if he wins the popular vote, it'll still just be a plurality because of third parties and everything. He's not going to get over 50%. He's still sitting at 50.1% of the vote, and that hasn't changed for days as California continues to put out votes. They're almost done counting there. He may win the majority of the country's vote despite 8 years of lawfare. What's Adam Schiff going to say? Read this report that the special counsel put out. Look at all this bad stuff. It's like nobody cared. No. He was leaking. The FBI was staging photographs at the raid at Mar-a-Lago before Jack Smith was even there. It didn't work.
We at the ACLJ, because we are attorneys, don't like to act like as if, well, it's basically done, so don't worry about it. We want to make sure we know 100% when Jack Smith is done. And then the second question, which is this report, depending on when he tries to release it and when it is written, I wonder if there's anything that can be done to prevent it from being released. Because if he tries to do it under the while Democrats still control the Office of Attorney General, I think he'll probably get it out. But if it's getting close, those people may be less interested in just releasing things like that.
Jack Smith will be under intense pressure from many Democrats in Congress to issue a report before the end of Joe Biden's term. And so if we think about individuals like Adam Schiff from California, incoming senator, he will certainly push for the release of these documents. He wants to do everything possible to damage Donald Trump as he takes office. But I think it's also clear to the American people that after last Tuesday's stunning election, that we are now beginning to witness the beginning of a temporary but not necessarily permanent end of official deep state resistance to Trump. And certainly we can see this at the federal level in the form of Jack Smith's filing with the court to basically hold his appeal in abeyance. And so I think the first step in that process was Judge Eileen Cannon's decision to dismiss the classified documents case against Trump. Second, though, we should note that Jack Smith's latest filing represents the acknowledgement of the fact that the left's loony lawfare campaign has backfired spectacularly, strengthening Trump's popularity. So one of the cautionary notes that I would offer to Jack Smith, if he wishes to try to release documents, is to ask him whether or not this will actually continue to strengthen Donald Trump's hand.